Give people a minute. Hey guys, I'm just gonna give people a few seconds to get in here. I see some people join in. I'm just gonna give a few more seconds to let people get in here. Okay, I see a few more people have joined. We'll go ahead and get started. Hey guys, welcome into PackersNews.com. I'm Kassidy Hill here from Empower Field in Denver. As you can probably hear, I have lost my voice, but didn't want to leave you hanging this morning or afternoon as it is now. I see a couple of questions coming in. Let's start with the most important one. Steve asked, is Aaron Jones active today? Yes, Aaron Jones is active. The inactive list came out just a few minutes ago, and let me actually I'll go over the inactive list with you now. The inactives are Malik Heath, Jair Alexander, Zane Anderson, Devondre Campbell, Caleb Jones. Jair is not too surprising, kind of given that back issue that's been giving him trouble. He played through it versus the Raiders, but it came back up again on Thursday, and he was on the injury report Thursday and Friday. So not too surprised to see Jair inactive. Devondre Campbell figured it would be a little bit longer. Zane Anderson was practicing more this week with his hamstring, but still not quite there. Malik Heath, I think that was just a roster decision. Caleb Jones as well. But Aaron Jones being active is huge for the Packers team today versus the Broncos. They can maybe get it back to the ground a little bit more, use a little bit more there with Jones, both out of the backfield as well. Reva says, I hope they let Jones actually play and not give him like 5 plays. That was what happened versus Detroit. He was finally active again, and then he gets 6 touches. Will he get more today? That's going to be the question. Aaron Jones talked this week about, there's this belief that as soon as he comes back, the offensive woes will be fixed. And that may be the case. It may not be. What is the biggest difference he makes to this offense? He talked about that this week. Let's actually hear from Jones now on what he can bring when he's back on the field.
There's some thought that your return is just going to solve whatever's wrong with this offense. Is that a fair statement?
I don't have a crystal ball. I hope so, though. It takes all 11, and I just know when I get in the huddle, they do have the guys. They listen to me. They see me as a leader, so I hope I can bring that spark to them and give them that sense of confidence, and we just go out there and play.
So we heard from Jones there on what he can kind of bring when he's back on the field. And as you heard him say, it's not even what he can do with the ball, it's what he can bring to the huddle. Maybe that's something they've been missing. And I think there's definitely something to that, because this is an offense led by Jordan Love with a bunch of skill players that are first and second year players. So can Aaron Jones being back on the field make a big difference, not only for what they can do with the ball, but for what they can do just with his leadership and his voice and his experience playing against, some of these tough defenses. Can Aaron Jones being on the field help negate Patrick Surtain a little bit, because you might not be able to go to Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs as much with Surtain, and Aaron Jones can help with that as well. Someone that also seemingly could be back on the field, and maybe I'm just misunderstanding this, let's actually check in, is Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes was activated off the PUP list onto the active roster on Saturday, and he was not listed on the inactive list today, and so it would seemingly mean that he would be playing today. Eric Stokes has not played since November of last year, and when he was injured versus Detroit with a foot injury, and so this will be almost a year, not quite a year, but almost a year since Eric Stokes has been on the field for the Packers. And with Jair Alexander out, that could make a huge difference as well, just having him back on the field, his speed back on the field, because Rasul Douglas can kind of play a little bit more of that zone. Eric Stokes is such a handsy guy. He can play a lot of that man coverage from corner. And so if Jair's not on the field, Eric Stokes can do that. Stokes talked this week about how excited he is to get back on the field, what it's going to mean to finally be back out on the field again and play. Let's actually hear from Eric Stokes now on the excitement of getting back on the field this week.
Definitely been thinking about that. Definitely been having like little ants, little like heart start racing whenever I start thinking about it and all that stuff because it's been so long. Like it's gonna be a year, so it's been a long time. But like it is what it is. I'm ready. Oh, trust me, I'm gonna turn up. Like you ain't gotta worry about that. But I'm gonna go out there, have fun, do what I know I can do, and everything else will solve itself. But 102%. Once that thing taken away from you, you start realizing practice, you start realizing walkthroughs, you start realizing little things that you took for granted that you like, man, I can't wait till I come do this. Or my first day doing Indy, I couldn't wait to be around Sewell, Key and all them just allowed, just joke around. Like it's like little small things that you just look past on a daily that you just like, man, I actually miss doing all them little stuff. So 110%, man, this thing done show me that I love it even more.
So as we heard there from Eric Stokes, exciting day for him to get back on the field. Karen says, I really do hope Stokes will earn his spot. He's ready and long overdue. He's felt it. And it's going to be interesting when Jair's back too. That's a crowded corner room all of a sudden. Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas, and Keyshawn Nixon. What do you do when you've got all of those guys that need playing time? And I think that Keyshawn Nixon's going to end up being the odd man out there possibly. But he's played so well in slot. So do they maybe go to more dime just to get him back on the field more? I see somebody has asked about David Bakhtiari. Bakhtiari is on injured reserve, so he's done for the year. He won't be playing anymore this year. Steve says Stokes is ready. He'll be in big impact when out there. A first game back, a guy is either going to have rust or he's going to ball out because he's been waiting so long. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the latter with Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes has also faced Jerry Jeudy in college a lot. He actually talked about, when they were both being recruited, somebody wanted him to go against Jerry Jeudy, and he got pulled at the last second. Somebody else went against him. He's like, it ended up working out because that guy went viral because Jerry Jeudy lost him so bad. But Jerry Jeudy could end up being a little bit of a conundrum for this Packers defense today. They faced Russell Wilson plenty of times. They know what he is. And Russell Wilson, at one time, he was a Super Bowl quarterback. The Packers have always been able to pick on him a little bit. But what does Jerry Jeudy do? What could work in their favor is that Jerry Jeudy has kind of become a forgotten piece in this offense, and it's gone to Cortland Sutton. But if they do go back to Jerry Jeudy today, what sort of challenge does that present for this Packers defense? Because Jerry Jeudy is such a big guy. He can really kind of go out there and tear you apart. Both Eric Stokes and Darnell Savage talked about facing both Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy this week. Let's hear from both of those guys now.
Can you take a lot of like what you were able to do against Russell Wilson with the Seahawks and apply that to what he's doing now?
A little bit. I think he brought some Seattle things with him over to Denver. But yeah, we kind of a little bit familiar with Russ, how he plays.
Obviously that's a Hall of Fame guy. Always with his extended plays, that's always a big thing. Not many quarterbacks. Well, nowadays a lot of quarterbacks can do that actually, but he's one that's been doing it for a long time as far as extended plays and turning those plays into wow, like he got out of that and made a big play. So, I think that's the biggest thing. And then obviously he's seen a lot of stuff just because he's been in this league so long. So he's seen a lot of defenses. So we just gotta make sure we do a good job of kind of playing a little chess match with him.
When you watch Denver, they move the ball well. Just somehow they just fumble or something just happens where it just doesn't work in their favor. So they got guys that can go for sure. And we're mindful of that. Respect everybody. They got guys. So we just got to make sure we just on our P's and Q's.
Judy, like extremely. I've been seeing him since high school. Like just watching him from a distance since high school, seeing him in college. Twitchy person, can give you a good heck of release, all this type of little stuff. And he's a heck of a wide receiver. Like I'm not finna let nobody else, like the media, all this other stuff, fool you and all this stuff. This is a heck of a wide receiver that can know how to get open, and know how to get the ball, and can still catch it, can still play. So that's an extremely good wide receiver.
As we heard there from the guys, what sort of challenge Jerry Judy can present when he is on it and when the ball is coming to him? Will the ball get to him? That's going to be the question, and Russell Wilson's going to be the factor in there. Steve says not too worried about Russell. He is not very accurate this year. Um, Karen was responding to Russell Douglas's comments. Denver moves the ball well, so please stop their run. That'll, of course, be a huge factor as well. Stephen asked, is the play calling been too conservative in the first quarter this year? We've been stagnant. I would agree with that statement, Stephen. It's not even just been stagnant, it's been disjointed. There doesn't seem to be a plan in the first quarter when that should be when your plan goes to plan more than anything else. Your first 15 plays are pretty much always scripted, and the first 15 plays in the Packers games every time this week or every week this year have been just discombobulated, disjointed. They seem to, you know, if they have a plan, not stick to it or get away from it really, really quickly, or not go with the plan that works best for who they have on the field. Um, it's just been interesting, and I'll be interested to see with Aaron Jones back on the field and presumably off of a snap count if it looks any different this week. Do they maybe spread it out a little bit more? Do they go a little bit more 50-50 with the run game and the passing game? And can it make a difference just having him back on the field? But as we heard him say as well, he's not going to just come in and fix all of their offensive woes immediately. Karen said, yeah, play calling's been all over the place. I don't think it's time to call for a new coach just yet. He's going to get a honeymoon year with Jordan Love. And there's also a lot of that goes into the fact of, this is a lot of first and second year players, coaches having to learn their players. That's why I think it'll be really interesting to see the game plan today, because the first 5 games, it was, you've just got to get to the next week, get to the next week, get to the next week. Coaches had a mini bye and then a bye. And so have they gone back and looked at the film and seen what these different guys do well? And now, will they, the first few weeks, you're just kind of putting them into the system because you have to, because that's what you know to run. Now that the coaches and LaFleur have had a bye week, are they going to be able to evaluate what these guys do well and shift the system around their talent more? That's why I'm really, really interested to see this game plan today. Steve says go back to the basics. Pass, run, play action on third down. That may be what this team needs too, while they're still young and sort of figuring everything out. More than anything, they just need a win. And that was something the guys talked about this week of just, because they've only had one game in 21 days and their last win was that Saints game. They haven't won in over a month, just about. It's been about a month. I think it was the 20th when they played that Saints team. Russell Douglas talked about that this week and how at this point they just need a win in whatever way they can get it. Let's hear from Russell.
I mean, we haven't won in a month. Shit, we ain't win since the 24th or something like that. September. So what's today? It's the 20th. That's a month. You know what I mean? So we haven't felt victory in a while. So, and I'm tired of coming here and everybody's sad and just look, you know what I'm saying, down us. So we just gotta do whatever it takes to win. When we get those opportunities to win, we gotta win.
So we heard there from Rasul about, it's been a month since these guys have felt what it likes to win, and they just kind of need something, anything to get them going. Amy says defense needs to have some big stops or picks to give the offense some nice field positions to give them a boost. That's what Jair talked about after the Raiders game, that this offense is young, and so it may be on the defense to win these games. The defense has done well, but it might just need to do more, so to speak. Some of the other defensive guys pushed back on that a little bit this week and said, it's been 5 weeks. Offense can't be young anymore. That's not an excuse. But we might have to see that. That's worked in their favor playing Russell Wilson in the past. They've been able to get those turnovers. Can they do that this week? Darnell Savage said, we need the turnovers, but we have to stop looking for them because that can cause some independent contractors essentially. If we play where we're supposed to be, the turnovers will come. Rudy Ford has had back-to-back games with turnovers. Can he get in there? You've got Quay Walker back on the field today. He's usually good with some tips. Can Rasul Douglas kind of go after those as well? It's going to be interesting to see if maybe they do push a little bit more aggressively this week for turnovers, knowing that it might come down to the defense to win these games. Guys, we're about an hour from kickoff now. I'm going to go get some water on my throat, see if I can get my voice back before post game. But appreciate you all being in here as well. We'll have full coverage for you on PackersNews.com during and throughout the game. Tom Silverstein, of course, will have his blog starting in about half an hour here, and it'll run throughout the game. And then we'll have full wrap-up coverage for you from Denver. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.